All right, we're going to get started. So we want to talk to you about the new web property that the FIDO Alliance has launched, passkeycentral.org. Andrew announced it yesterday. Has anyone had a chance to go look at the site in all of your free time? Thank you. Thank Adrian. Okay. The people who built the site have. I like that. But we want to talk to you a little bit about where this came from and what is housed in here and where it's going. And I'm Megan Shamas, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of the FIDO Alliance. And
I'm Alex Rupprecht. I'm the Content Strategist with FIDO Alliance.
Thank you. And to be fair, Alex wrote every word on the website, so it's very important that we give the props to Alex on this. But so at the FIDO Alliance, we have, we're a not-for-profit organization. We have a budget to do, different things, obviously. Some of that includes web and content. However, as we've moved from awareness building into enablement, there definitely has been some questions and some gaps around, well, we know we need to create more enablement materials, but what do the service providers really need? And this is where the Passkey enablement, is it a foundation? Is it a foundation?
We did research.
It's the Passkey enablement program is what we were calling it for a while, but it's really had to be a separate initiative from our core day-to-day function, and also to be funded separately from that, which is why Andrew mentioned our underwriters for this project when he announced it. And so, in order to, at the start of this project. And by the way, I want to mention that if you know Kevin Goldman, so Kevin Goldman was with Trusona. He also led our UX working group since its inception. And the UX working group is one of our most active group within the FIDO Alliance. And Kevin really spearheaded this project, so I wanted to make sure that we recognize that. He's not here today. He's moved on to a new adventure, but when I talk about this project and the research that was done, this was all spearheaded by Kevin and then Alex to create the website. And I just am taking all the credit for it, so it's fine. No, I'm not. So let me move this over here.
Yep.
So at the front of this, it was, well, if we want to find out what service providers need, we should talk to them. And so this is, we're going to go through a little bit of this, but I want to, just spend a little bit of time around, what the research process was and what the outcomes were of that. And so we went into this thinking it's probably developer-related materials that they need, because we don't have a lot of that, and it just seems like something people would need, to be honest. And so we worked with Blink, which does a lot of our UX research, to run research around RPs, I like to call them service providers, but relying parties. But not just one person at each relying party, a multitude of folks across the org to understand what the different pieces are of a project, and then where the pain points are within those projects amongst the different stakeholders in this team, in a team for a typical deployment. So it's 37 RPs, but Alex, how many interviews were actually conducted? I mean,
there's hours.
We have 48 hours of video from these interviews, and if I press play on the highlight reel, will it go? I hope. Go. I'm not going to play all 3 minutes, but I just want to give you a sense of what these interviews looked like, if it does play, which we're at the will of the internet and the place, so we'll see. It wants to. Now will the sound go?
If you were thinking about a new technology, one that was AI driven and one that was to enhance security for customers, which do you think would have a more powerful, positive impact on your brand?
Ooh, good question. Security is probably first, AI is probably second. Feature announcement plan, I'd be responsible for that. Create customer self-help and education resources, my direct reports.
So what I have here is stages of a product journey.
Realistically, what would this cost? If we were to redo our app, redo our CRM.
All right, so we did passkeys, we did tokens. There's a bunch of things that we're doing, but right now they're proliferated. There's so many out there. It's like, okay, now we went from one extreme to the other. And now how do we get that pendulum to swing back down to the middle? Right?
How do you typically keep up to date with new innovations in the field?
Process all the different data out there. What's good, what's bad, what's rhetoric,
ahead.
what's noise, what's
You
useful.
could view this. We have this available.
Who discovered it on their own. So the mental toil, I felt like I was always on defense. Like I had to be prepared to find all these dirty states. And I can understand FIDO probably doesn't want to make it look ugly. Like, why would you reveal the beast? But in the end, as a designer that tries to make passkeys work for Shopify, it just feels so tiring to become the guidebook for it internally. Right now, we've paused the project. I'm excited to see where.
So I wanted to kind of give you like just an idea of kind of the extensiveness of these interviews, and you can see, so Sandra, who's with Blank, is creating, notes in Figma based on this, and this all mapped into, some conclusions that were drawn across, these 37 RP interviews, and then we were able to kind of draw some conclusions based on that. Now, you just heard a couple people talking about various things of this, which was, and then the person at the end was saying, like, we paused this because it just wasn't we couldn't figure out how to make it go, right? And from that, there was a lot of, input that was given around some of the things that could be resolved to help it go, right? So I just wanted to, preface this and talk about some of the research that went into this. And then, before I pass it to Alex to talk about the actual, I just want to show, I'm going to show this and just kind of talk through it. But what we found actually was that it wasn't developer materials that were really needed. It was a lot of the business leader. Alex, what are the three pieces that we want to highlight here?
Yeah, so basically the bottom line is that we found it was the business side, right? It was the project managers, the CEOs, all those people that make things happen on the business side. How do we get from knowing we want passkeys to developing them?
And what is so we looked at, what is a typical journey, and then what is needed throughout that journey. So a lot of extensive research was done, and then a mapping to that in order to create the phase one for Passkey Central. Now, and also we identified personas. We looked at what each person is within the org that is a decision maker here or that influences, and what do those folks need. So I talk a lot about, and I do a lot, it's almost to the point where it's like, Megan, people get it, stop, about the championing within the organization. I talked about that all day. I actually created a whole track about it because I talk about it that much. But it's just been so much talking to folks that are doing this, this is the part where, how do I build the business case? What is the ROI? How do I figure that out? But there's so much more to that. And then what does a typical project plan look like? And et cetera, that, is actually has been the gap that, we haven't been able to fill, but also no one else is filling. And also there are, there's a lot of developer materials out there, but that wasn't the gap that was identified for us. And so we could talk forever about the process that went into this, but once we sort of identified this, it was, kind of an exercise in getting support in order to create materials that we needed to. So we needed an Alex. So Alex, we were lucky to be able to find Alex and have Alex work on this with us, but there was no Alex, right? So having someone that could, be the one person to focus all of this into a content strategy and also the execution. So Alex is a strategist, but also the executor, to be clear, he's not just doing the strategy, he's doing all the work as well. So having that, someone dedicated to that was really crucial after we had identified, everything that was needed. And so with that, I just wanted to kind of lay some of the foundation, but Alex would have Alex kind of take you through what is on the site right now for what the phase 1 approach is, and then where we're trying to go in the future.
So I wanted to just kind of ask, with a show of hands, how many of you have heard of passkeys? Okay, most of you. And now how many of you could tell somebody else what a passkey is? A little less. And how many of you know how to implement passkeys? Just a few. So that's the gap we're finding, right? People want passkeys. They know it's a better solution. But do you go to Walmart and buy them, right? Do they come from Amazon? How do you get these passkeys?
I was actually making sure we weren't positioning this because to get passkeys at Passkey Central, we're not selling them there. No, it's actually learn how was one of the things. I was no, people are going to think they can come and get them there.
So since May, Kevin Goldman and I used all of the research that had been collected prior to me coming on. And so that gave us a great roadmap that the UX Working Group and other Alliance members had helped form that foundation. And so I very quickly realized that was the gap, right? It's not code. The code's out there. Apple and Google and everybody else are offering APIs and things like that. It's how do I do the UX writing for this? How do I tell my customers that we're using passkeys and keep them from being scared of it? All those other pieces. How do we afford this? How do we hire somebody to help us? Or can our own team do it? So in this version 1 is addressed towards consumer companies. However, if you're in finance or government, you can start here. You just have to worry about all your extra regulations, right? So what this does is you can walk through it end to end, and it will guide you through. Or if you're kind of halfway through already, you can start in the middle. So it starts off with an introduction. What are passkeys? What types are there, and what are the use cases? And then it also talks about the passkey experience. What is this going to look like for my users when I actually implement it, and what are other companies doing? We also talk about security and the FIDO specifications. Passkeys, as you know, are based on FIDO 2 specifications. So then the next part, once you know what passkeys are, what they do, and you figured out, I want them, we now have sections here to help identify your needs. This starts with the cost and benefits. It goes on to metrics. There's actually a spreadsheet that you can download that allows you to input your own information from your own organization to say, well, we've got this costs us this much, and if we go with passkeys and we hire somebody to help us, then I can jot down and then take it to whoever you need to say, yeah, we need this, and this is what it's going to cost, right?
It's almost incredible this doesn't exist. Believe me, it doesn't, because it's one of those core questions of, it seems like baseline kind of stuff, but it's hard to get costs out of folks. And so things like this have been really, really great to be able to provide out to the public.
So the two big things here, we came up with 2 rollout guides. The first one is what a lot of companies are doing, where you don't market passkeys. You implement them on a few platforms, like maybe you want to start with Apple, right? You want Apple iOS, and you just implement it, and people find it in their settings, or maybe you have a button when they sign in that allows them to go get their passkey. But you're not spending a lot of money on advertising. This gives you a chance to roll it out and find any pitfalls or any blockers that people have or that your company has, right? And then add on as you go. The second guide is a little more rapid. You want to do a lot of marketing, you've got the money to do it, you've got the people to do it, and you really want to go gung-ho and implement these passkeys. The third is the future of passkeys. That guide doesn't quite exist yet because most companies aren't there yet. Very few companies like PlayStation Entertainment or Sony Entertainment have gone full out passkeys, and that's all now you just sign in with passkeys. So that's kind of the future state, but we do address that a little. So once you get through the guides, then we've got a lot of resources. The design guidelines originally existed. The UX working group, headed up by Kevin Goldman, they're the ones that did a lot of this research. There's design guidelines to teach you or help you understand, like, what does your company need to do? Like, these have been tested, right? So that users understand the copy that's in, and you can actually go in and copy their copy. So you don't have to do all this work. It's already been done for you. Or maybe help you brainstorm.
This is all like, research backed for years and years going into these design guidelines. Were actually the only thing probably we had already, like the
Yes.
only existing asset, right? So the rest of it is all net new.
So the two required ones are, of course, sign in with a passkey, and create and view and manage accounts, right? So those are the two you have to do. Then there's also these optional patterns if you want to add on. And then we've also got a handful of resources and tools. There's Figma UI kits. So there's a lot of design information. We also added emails and things. There's sample emails. You want to send this out as a primer. Hey, we're launching passkeys. Here it is, right? If you want to put it in your UI, hey, we're launching passkeys. Like, we've got copy there that's been tested that it works, that people understand it, and it looks good and all that, right? Same thing, customer support. We've got facts and things that you can share with your customers on your site, so you don't have to do all this research, right? As well, live implementations of passkeys. The internet's a little slow. There are videos here showing you what it looks like on Windows, on a Mac with Kayak. So you can see how these other companies that have gone before you are doing things, and see what best suits your needs. A little bit on accessibility as well as terms. We do link to developer documents because you will need that, As well, you can find FIDO certified organizations. So if you don't want to use or don't have developers that can do this, you can find somebody who can help you implement this, like similar to a lot of the vendors that are here. And then this was a huge pain point, and you heard the woman that was on the end of the video say, we hit these tough spots, and we didn't know what to do. So what we started identifying, this is just a handful, but these are places where people got stuck, or where the user got stuck with passkeys, and starting to solve for those. So as we said, this is V1. The Alliance members helped create this site, and the plan is to have that continue, to have Alliance members come and say, hey, our users are having trouble here, or we did this and it works. And then we add to this documentation set to help everybody on this process. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the way the content is laid out is, so in the intro materials, and this is not only for you to come and learn about this, but you could very easily grab a lot of this to give to someone like within your organization or wherever that you need to educate about this. Like, this is the right material for them to understand, and because this is what we've learned, like this is what they want to know. And then the grab and go kind of content, I've worked on standards adoption for like my whole career, which is weird, but from like the marketing side. And when you're trying to get like a whole industry to move, and you're trying to get a lot of organizations to move, and they're not all, like, we love hearing from the biggest, brands in the world because they're doing these great reference implementations, but there's a lot of folks that don't have that kind of resources. So like being able to just grab and grow a script for your customer service team, or an email that you could send out to your customer base, is huge when you have teams that are, have, a lot of other things on their plate. So these kind of like assets that are consistent. So if you if 5 organizations grab and go with this, with customers, users, those people are seeing the same messages over and over again, they're going to get it. And that is a huge part of this as well. Like ensuring that you have the right information, you have the information to grab and go, but also that it's consistent across the ecosystem.
Yeah, and that's the other part of this is, along with, working with the Alliance members, we're linking to other places. We're linking to Google, we're linking to Amazon, we're linking to vendors that can help. And they're going to start linking back to us, right, as this is the place to go to figure out how to do this, the authority on what the heck should we do, right? We know we want passkeys. And so I love the community of that, the building of that. So, yeah. I think that's about it.
Yeah, what are these?
Yeah, so these are, sorry, these are the kits. I was just trying to show while you were talking. These are some of the kits that you can download.
Yeah, and we've had, like members say, hey, we actually have we have actually collected all the OS dialogues amongst all the platforms. Here you go. Because we want to contribute this so other organizations can see, what's out there, maybe what tweaks we want to make or what feedback we need to give the platforms in order to create consistency amongst these.
So all these tools, your marketing people, your project managers, your finance people, your security people, your UX writers, your content designers, there is a tool, at least a start to a tool for every single one of them. And it will continue to grow. So
what are you working on right after this? You're going to go back to work right after this session, right? So what do you No, but what is what are you looking at for phase 2? Are there any immediate things that we want to add to the site?
Well, we've got a roadmap, right? Like I said, in the future, some of the things are adding more government and finance tools because that has not been covered yet. It's still being developed. But one of the things I've been doing while I was here is networking with people. People that are in similar fields that are, whether they're vendors or people that are looking to adopt, and networking. Hey, you got something that your customers are stuck on that we're missing, whatever, reach out. There's contact us forms on the FIDO Alliance site. But that's, we've got some things mapped out, still left over. It's a 3-year phase, I believe, already planned for, but definitely going to keep examining what's working and what's missing and networking and all those types of things. So.
And to that point, this isn't just a promotional session, because I would never do that. That'd be crazy. But we want you all to understand, one, this is a product that will be added to in the future, but that you can be involved in that. So whether it's by giving us feedback, whether it's by contributing through underwriting, whether it's really anything that would help us to understand what's needed, that is tremendously helpful for us. So this is really a community kind of asset that we want to grow and build. And with that, anything else? I think we just wanted to show this to you. And if you have immediate feedback, do we have a channel yet set up, or?
Yeah, we're just using the contact us at FIDO Alliance currently. So
a web at FIDOalliance.org works, or is it info at?
Yeah, I believe so. It's
Charles, what are our? You can contact us, give us feedback on the site, take a look at it.
Oh, and you can also get to the site through FIDO Alliance. Yeah,
so part of this journey is, you've got a journey through passkeys. You also have a journey through web properties. So Alex is also working with us and has helped us out with a lot to ensure that the user journey amongst our properties is going to make sense to you all. If you land at FIDOalliance.org, you want to get, and you have certain information that you want to try to get, you're going to be directed to Passkey Central where it makes sense, and you're not going to feel like your journey through our web properties has been disrupted in any way, is what we're really striving for. Where ultimately, we think that everything passkey related will get moved over there. That's going to be something that we'll tackle over time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm also running this track, so if anyone's wondering what's going on, we're just running 5 minutes behind, and we'll get started on the next session. But for those that want to embrace PasskeyCentral.org, we've got some T-shirts over here. If anybody wants one, please come see us. Thank you so much.
And stickers.
And stickers, too.